Now, is it corny if I'm like, I'm Gina, and you do, I'm Noah, and then we both say, and you're listening to the Artidex podcast at the same time? Is that corny?
Yes. I feel like
Okay. What should we say?
Instead of like simultaneously saying it, you can just like
You want me to just say
kind
it?
of alternate it. Yeah, and you can just say
Oh,
it.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, we could always change it
So you
up.
can just say, yeah, you can
Okay.
just say like, I'm Gina, I'm Noah, and then you can just say like,
And you're listening to the Artidex podcast.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. So I'm Gina,
And I'm Noah.
and you're listening to the Artidex podcast. Welcome.
Welcome.
All right, man. Let's jump right in.
That was pretty good.
That was pretty good, right? It felt legit.
Yeah, it felt natural.
Oh, so what do you want to talk about first? Should we talk about my weird morning?
Yeah. Let's jump into that because I feel like it will segue cleanly into everything else that we're going to talk about. So
How's my overall aura right now? Is it chill?
yeah,
It's kind of.
it definitely is chill.
It's joyful, but it's chill.
Yeah, joyful but chill.
I feel like I'm in basically almost like a meditative state. We basically meditated.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about I got a psychic reading this morning from a friend of a friend. Her name is Jill Fogel. That's the psychic's name. And I've just been really enjoying speaking with her. And just, I feel like you and I have talked maybe just a little bit in general about like spirituality and all of those things. But let's start with like, what's your perspective on all of that? Things like tarot, psychic readings, like what is your, how do you feel about them? And what's your impression of the way it works? Or what, is there any utility? Is it bogus?
So I've never personally had an experience with any of those things. But I know people who have practiced tarot and like done readings and things like that, and like palm reading and like all that type of stuff. I think it's extremely powerful. I can't speak to like the validity of any of it because I haven't personally experienced it. But from what I've seen, it's incredibly powerful. It's been around for thousands of years, and there has to be something to it.
Sure.
I think I'm also somebody who, and I think we've talked about this before with astrology and horoscopes, is that I worry that if I engage in those things, that it will like subconsciously steer me in a certain direction.
Mhm.
And maybe that's just my own like feelings on it, and that's not actually what would happen. But I do feel strongly about that, and I think that alone speaks to the fact that I believe that it's
There's
powerful
something
and that
to
there's
it, right?
something
'Cause
to
you,
it
like,
and it has
have
an
a
effect
little-
on people. Yeah, regardless of like the nature of that effect, I definitely feel like it's something that can really have a strong pull on people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like in general, just my overall view of things that are abstract or spiritual or just like not based in reality is just kind of a very general openness, because I can tell you some things that I believe are certain.
Yeah.
One is that not everything that exists is meant to be comprehended by the bounds of the human cerebral cortex. And that was actually articulated first by Neil deGrasse Tyson. So shout out to him. And I completely agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, well said.
Two, animals, many different types of animals have different limits to their senses. Humans are extremely limited in our ability to sense or perceive things.
Right.
We have 5 senses, and I can tell you right now, they suck, because both of you and I are wearing glasses to be able to see 4 feet in front of us right now.
Yeah.
And I can barely hear things. Sometimes I'm like, what? Repeat yourself. I can't. Our senses suck.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, a hawk can see like 3 miles in the distance, and like a horse can like feel the rain before it comes.
Yeah.
So there are things that can be sensed or perceived that humans are not able. They don't have the capacity physiologically to sense or perceive accurately.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that 100%.
But maybe there are some humans that can access certain things that maybe not all of us can, right? Like there's like virtuosos, there's like child prodigies that somehow are like 3 and can play Mozart flawlessly.
Yeah.
Can't really explain that super well. So it's very possible that there are people that have inclinations or like natural abilities or gifts, and I could see maybe that being one of them.
Yeah, I absolutely think there's people who are like tapping into something that maybe other people like don't have access to or like are not attuned to.
For sure.
And I think you see that across like everything because even like in what we do like creatively and things like that, there's definitely like a lot, and especially with the Artidex project, all of these artists that you've spotlighted in their own way, they kind of are each attuned to something, creatively, that I feel like maybe other people are not on that same
For
wavelength.
sure.
It's
Yeah.
it's pretty fascinating.
Channeling some, artistic entity and then just like manifesting it externally. And thirdly, something I know objectively to be true is that the more you think you know, the less you realize you know.
Yeah.
I can tell you I felt dumber and dumber the further and deeper I went into my medical training.
Hmm.
And like you would think that would be the opposite, but it really just shows you, and it profoundly humbles you, and it shows you how much you don't know. So I'm like completely open to the concept that there are things that I don't know or understand, and I don't know how they work, and I might not ever be able to know how they
Yeah.
work. But in general, like tarot, psychic readings, I almost look at it like a Rorschach.
Okay.
And so I kind of
Yeah.
agree with you, is there is a subconscious and conscious simultaneous influence of like doing and engaging in those activities,
Hmm.
like reading your horoscope. It sounds like you don't really want to be steered. I'm looking to
Yeah.
be I'm looking to be guided. I'm looking
Yeah.
for that like refinement. And I do find that it's like it almost makes you find things for yourself, cuz like if it tells you XYZ and you're like, well, X is true and Y and Z are not,
Hmm.
that's you consciously like refining your own understanding of the subject
Yeah,
actually.
definitely.
So it has that kind of use, and it's very interesting to play with. But she's super cool and had me doing all of these things like outside of my comfort zone, like and as a physician, right, I have to get like completely outside of my head because she's doing like chakras and like body work and all this
Yeah.
like Eastern medicine stuff, and I'm just like, I'm gonna go with the flow.
Yeah.
Like there's value to everything, and there's value to like concentrating on like the sensations in your body. It's a very meditative and
Yeah.
peaceful thing to do. Um, so if I'm feeling zen
Yeah.
or seeming zen,
Well, I think even just the fact that you're open to something like that is really cool because and maybe this is just my like limited understanding of like doctors and like people um who work in like science and things like
yeah,
that is that
Western medicine
yeah is that there's very much like a groundedness to all of it, and it's grounded in like physical reality and like things that we see and know and can like ascertain from like looking at the body or looking inside the body or
mm-hmm.
various things like that, whereas like this whole other side of things is like you said, it's more so dealing with like things that are unseen and unknowable. So the fact that like you as somebody who is like, rooted in medicine, but also is like willing to explore
For sure.
these other things, it's pretty cool, and I feel like maybe that's something that you don't see very often.
Yeah, I hope to spread that like sort of sentiment far and wide within my field. I see everything as like just a tool I can add to my toolbox.
Yeah.
It's important to know when to use them,
Mm.
you know? Um, and I think a lot of Eastern medicine can and should be used as adjunctive therapy to a lot of Western medicine. And people have very strong opinions about those things. And what I will say is, everyone has autonomy. Everyone can make decisions for their body. I'll recommend what I think is, safest and most medically
Yeah,
sound or
absolutely.
research based. But ultimately, people are going to do what they want to do. But yeah, I see all of those like Eastern modalities as just like adjunctive therapies that should be used alongside Western otherwise you're just like limiting the things that you can offer your patients, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to be able to give you like ABCDE instead of as options for you to treat you.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot to put the cats away.
That's
Well,
fine. We'll have some
that's gonna
friends for
this is
this.
just gonna be part of it now. I want to give you multiple choices as opposed to just like limiting the things that I know about like offering you.
Yeah.
And also, people are doing that on their own. So if I don't teach myself what people are interested in or like what they're doing, like for example, I don't know who's talking about this. I don't know if it's Rogan. I don't know who it is. Someone on the internet is talking about using beetroot powder
Interesting.
for
I feel like
hypertension.
I've heard whispers of this in
Yeah,
various
yeah. So a lot
corners
of
of
my
the internet.
patients are coming in on like beetroot capsules,
Hmm.
and and I did research it, and I think my knowledge is limited, of course, but there's some degree of efficacy to it. I think the concentration that you have to take is like quite impressive to
Hmm.
actually get a meaningful effect, and the effect, like the amount to which it can affect your blood pressure, is like maybe 5 to 10 millimeters of mercury. So like let's say your blood pressure is 180,
Hmm.
it only has the capacity to take you down to like 170.
Okay. Yeah.
And so while it's lowering your blood pressure, it is. It may not be enough for people who are like really that high.
Right. Right.
If you're like 130, 120 is actually much better.
Yeah.
So like it depends on where you're at. So these things are so nuanced, but people maybe don't know that. So I'm trying to educate myself as
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
who like, is working with humans who are on the internet.
Yeah.
And they're
No,
gonna
that's, I think that actually, that's an interesting thing too that we could get into, is just like the fact that, you as somebody who's practicing medicine have to, contend with people who have access to the internet, and therefore, find all sorts of, at home remedies, or think they know things.
yeah,
And you kind of have to, um, be able to meet them at their level.
absolutely. And very, very gently and respectfully try to guide them in what I think medically as their doctor is the safest direction.
Right.
Um,
And how else can you do that by,
yeah,
without knowing what these people are getting into?
exactly, or being familiar with it. So anyway, that was a really long segue.
But the reading that you had, yeah.
But the reading was really, really cool. I mean, I had like kind of a crazy weekend,
Yeah,
and she
of
went
course.
she went into some like past life
Hmm.
stuff, and kind of saying that maybe it had something to do with that, which is always very interesting. It makes like the emotional weight of things that might feel like disproportionate. It almost validates or affirms them, even if it's like just a concept.
Okay.
It like makes it
Yeah.
feel lighter to carry around in a really weird way. So
Interesting.
it's all like exercises of the mind and things like that. But and it's a really fun story.
Yeah.
So that it's honestly just like objectively very fun
Yeah, absolutely.
to think about. But yeah, it was really cool. Had a good time. What's new with you? Anything?
You know.
Your shirt's really cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
It's
this is
pretty fire.
a good MC Escher 1991. I picked this one up recently, and I've been like picking up a lot more cool tees. I think I was like, in the beginning, I was probably more of like a jacket person of my my vintage clothing journey, but now I'm like falling in line with everybody else,
The
and getting into,
t-shirt
yeah,
t-shirt
getting
craze.
into
For those
the
of you who
t-shirt
don't
bros.
know, Noah has a vintage I don't even know.
Yeah,
Is it an
so
archive?
yeah,
You introduce it
for
yourself.
people who don't know, because most people, know me as a music producer, a DJ, a graphic designer, um, but around a year ago, I got a lot more into vintage clothes and stuff, and I started a business. So I sell vintage clothes under the name Arc.Hive.
Plug.
Yeah, which the name comes from my first name, Noah, Noah's Ark. And the hive is related to the first initial of my last name, which is bee, like a bumblebee, but also the hive is sort of like representative of like the collective of people and the network of
Mm-hmm.
people that you build through things like this. So
Such a good name.
yeah, it's one of
Fire.
those that just like came to me, and I was like,
Isn't it
that's the
so
one.
gratifying when you think of a name for something you didn't use ChatGPT for?
Yeah,
Mine are.
absolutely.
Mine
Yeah,
was. I'm like, mine is better. I'm
yeah.
like, I don't think this is better.
No,
That's
it's true.
very satisfying. So
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah, so there's
Um,
going to be a lot more with that, and I have been meaning to have a conversation with you about it outside of all this too, because I have some ideas of the direction I want to go with it and things like that that I think you'll be excited about, and that you can kind of help me
oh yeah,
with
I
some
would love
ideas
to. I
there.
can't wait
So
to hear.
yeah,
That sounds sick.
yeah,
But yeah, so archives on eBay.
yeah. eBay, Depop, Instagram.
The huge
Yeah, the
coming,
usual.
coming to Depop or live on Depop.
Coming to Depop
Coming to
and
Depop.
live in person soon. I think there'll be an opportunity to
Hell
start
yeah.
doing some events and some pop-ups and stuff
So
like that.
sick.
Just trying to like get my inventory to where I want it to be
Nice.
and have cool stuff for the people. You know, I think it's going to be like a fun curation of stuff that I feel like represents me and the things that I'm interested in. So I'm trying to like niche down a little bit and get like cool, interesting like music teas and just stuff that I feel is culturally relevant to me and not necessarily just like what is the most popular things
Right.
out there, but stuff that like resonates with me.
Yeah, I have a strong belief in that. Like, if something really like resonates with you, you're gonna attract the right people and so forth. And like we were even talking about like me, you, and Kate. Like we're all so similar,
Yeah.
and it's interesting because we're like connected through your music, which like came from your mind, but like the frequency of like the music or like the actual physical waves must be like scratching a part of like my brain that like
I guess,
made it
yeah.
resonate. And I'm like, and it's so interesting because music is really powerful for that, and it like connects people. But yeah, really interesting, like how everything is sort of interconnected.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
All right, should we talk about 1 through 5?
Yeah.
1 through 5. I'm gonna get the binder out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy to think you're already at 11 now, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Next one's
it's
12.
pretty wild.
Yep. And I think I never like to jinx these things. Getting people to commit's hard, but I think I'm doing 12 pretty soon,
Mm,
in like a week or so.
that's
So I'm
awesome.
pretty excited. Um, but yeah, I don't know. So do you want to we'll talk about how I know the people, I guess?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Or like why I chose them for certain things?
Yeah, definitely.
I'll hand it to you
Definitely why
too.
you chose them, I think, is super important too, because there's there's already so much diversity in the kind of art and I think it would be very easy to just lock in and only do musicians or only do one type. But I think what you've already shown through the people that you've covered is that just that art comes in so many different forms. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And it's like, even like with number one, with I Hate Blonde, after seeing that one, I was kind of talking to you about that, and I was like, this is somebody who's like, essentially, whose life is like
Art.
performance art. You
Yes.
know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
her life is art, and I think that's a cool representation of that. And there's so many different ways that creativity and art is being expressed through these projects.
Yeah.
So I think that's a cool part of it too, is just that people are seeing like the many different ways that art takes shape and like manifests itself through people.
Yeah, so entry number 1, Rachel, aka I Hate Blonde. I've known for like well over 10 years,
Mhm.
I think, at this point. I don't 100% remember exactly how I found her. She was a blogger at the time. I mean, she still is a blogger.
Yeah.
But at the time when I was discovering her, as a blogger and a writer. She had an Instagram, and she was also just like incredible at styling herself,
Mm.
just really like gifted at putting outfits together.
Yeah.
I would see like something she would post and how she like composed an outfit, and the things that she would put together I would have never thought to put together, and it would just
Right.
like
But it would
blow
just
my
work.
mind
Yeah.
wide open. And
Some
I'd
people are so good at that.
dude, oh man, I'd be like, wow, I can't believe, like, I never thought to wear that with that. Like, that's
Yeah.
so clever. Like, I can't wait to do some type of interpretation of that. So super, super inspiring. And then when I was doing PR for that UK clothing company, Long Clothing,
Yes. Yeah.
and like Boy London, New Future, they're all the same people doing those 3 brands. I reached out to her and I sent her clothes to shoot in.
Mhm.
And that was actually how I made a lot of like really early friendships. Did I send you stuff? I feel like I did. Did I ever send you anything?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, so maybe that might have been a little earlier than you.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rachel I'm actually gonna, for the actual episode, plug in a voice note that she left me because it
Oh, cool.
illustrates the kind of person she is. It's
Yeah.
just like the cutest little voice note she left me, and I feel like it just shows who she is as a person. So
Mhm.
we can plug that in like right here.
Hi, love. Just dropping in to say that I really liked the video you posted. I actually watched it a couple times because I thought it was so cool and the transition was really cool. So, congratulations on that swag.
And I feel like that just really illustrates just the vibe of her.
Yeah.
And I think you were talking about how different everybody is, but for me there are some similar threads that kind of are woven through everyone, and it's how complex everyone is.
Yeah.
So how complex everyone is outside of their art and how multidimensional they are,
Mhm.
and how they're gifted in multiple different mediums is fascinating to me. And also the book doesn't match the cover. And that's like a theme for like me in my life that like
Yeah.
really profoundly
Yeah, for
resonates,
sure.
because growing up, I have always been just like misunderstood, sorely underestimated by default, which was always really hurtful. Um, and so like I'm striving in my life in general and like through this project to truly just like see people for who they are. And like
Yeah.
I always assume the best of people. Like if you were like, Gina, I'm taking up crocheting, I'd be like, you're gonna be so good at that.
Yeah,
Like
you would.
um, so Rachel, she has this very like Cher Horowitz glamour, Anna Nicole
Yeah,
Smith,
for sure.
Playboy bunny exterior. But a lot of people don't know she actually has a degree in forensic journalism.
It's insane.
She's so
Yeah.
intelligent. She's an incredible poet, really strong writer. She has like multiple books she's published. Um, and I feel a need to like speak on that and like praise her, because I think a lot of people underestimate her. A lot of people, think she's maybe just like more of a external aesthetic sort of person.
Yeah.
And I think she is, and she loves aesthetic, but the reason she has that aesthetic is actually very profoundly meaningful.
Yeah.
Like she's very much I have that pure imagination tattoo, like Willy Wonka the song, where
Hmm.
essentially he's singing about like how terrible the world is and how he
Yeah.
has to basically create his own world in his mind to escape from it.
Right.
That's what Rachel's art is. She's creating a different world for herself and for other people viewing it to escape into. And I think that is just so cool. And I don't know how long she's been like doing that for consciously, but she's always spoken about like world building.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a cool form of art that's maybe not even like touched upon, like performance art or like being living art. And that's 100% who she is.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, with me as somebody who's like, I kind of position myself as like a world builder as well.
You are.
And so, seeing what she's doing, it immediately clicks with me. I'm like, oh,
Okay,
okay, I get it. I
that's
get it.
great.
You know what I mean? It's like, I know exactly what you're going for here.
Mhm.
And it's also, it got me thinking, it's interesting that people who have really strong, like, visual aesthetics, especially like when it comes to like personal style and things like that, can kind of get like pigeonholed or like seen as one dimensional.
Yes.
I feel like sometimes it's it's surprising that the majority of people don't look at somebody like that and immediately think like, well, what else is there, because there's always something really interesting about that person. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Behind all of that, it's coming from somewhere. Like you said, whether it's coming from this like, deep imaginative place, that, there's usually a really interesting person behind all that.
Absolutely. And
So it's cool that, you can definitely sense that even just from her Artidex entry.
that's, I mean, it's really nice you see that. And I've had a few people kind of just like ask about her, and I just got the sense that like their impression was not 100% accurate. So I feel like very like motivated to like go to war because she's so incredible. It's like, oh, she just does outfits. It's like, no, no, no. She's a poet and a painter, and
Yeah.
she's a world builder, and she like lives through her art and like who she is as a person, like how she actually interfaces with the world is like sometimes in character, which is super interesting. And she's like actually formally diagnosed with autism. So I
Hmm.
think that also might be where some people are misperceiving her,
Yeah.
misunderstanding
Yeah,
her.
absolutely.
But it's like what I love about her. But she's so goofy, and like she's seen, and meanwhile she looks like this like super glamorous model. But she's like one of the funniest people I've ever met.
Yeah.
So that's why I did Rachel. We have like a religion where we'll get takeout food in a hotel and watch Forensic Files. We're both obsessed with Forensic Files, and she loves like true crime.
Okay, that
which
tracks.
again,
Yeah.
like it contrasts with her external a little bit, but like that's our thing. But yeah, she's basically the quintessence of the Artidex. Is like, there's more underneath
Yeah,
the
which is
surface.
cool and like really works for like a first impression of Artidex, first episode. Yeah, absolutely.
So entry number two is also just one of the coolest people on the planet. I will
Mhm.
nominate, like, if the aliens came down and we had to like elect some representatives that we know to like represent humanity to make us not look terrible,
Yeah.
I would send Amber.
Okay.
Like, just the
That's
coolest
valid.
coolest girl in the
Yeah.
whole world, and just like has the warmest spirit. Like, you meet her, and like in her presence you just know, you can just tell that she's an authentic person,
Yeah.
and she's like just really down to earth, really kind.
So for people who don't know, what does Amber do?
Oh yes, correct. So she is an entomologist. She is a bug expert essentially, and she makes art out of the bugs that she raises from larvae.
Which is
Um,
wild.
Insane.
Yeah, it's
She's so cool. Because I was doing her Artidex, and I was looking at some of her pieces, and I was like, so like, where do you source your insects from? Like, where are you getting them? And she's like, oh no, I'm like growing them. And I was like, oh, she raised them.
that's like it's talk about really being like immersed in your work, like from all stages of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I feel like that just shows a level of appreciation and like dedication for what she's doing,
Mm-hmm.
that like, from start to finish, like she's involved with all of it. And even like I'm sure like the raising of these insects and stuff, in a way becomes like a part of the whole process and the
Absolutely.
projects that she does, which are super super cool.
It's like planting the seed that grows into the plant that then you like cook as a chef and
Yeah.
put on a plate. Which maybe the food analogy aspect isn't really great,
Yeah.
but you know what I'm saying. Just
Yeah.
like she's like creating the materials herself, and I think it also just shows such reverence for the subject matter to
Mhm.
like put like the time, love, and effort into like nurturing this creature, letting it die of natural causes, and then like making its body into really beautiful art is
Yeah.
like really just poetic, and beautiful. And just like, speaking of multi-talented, she's also opening a bar
Oh, that's
in like the
cool.
Lower East Side
Oh,
called
wow.
Crybaby.
That's what's up.
Crybaby coming soon. And it looks
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hit that
super
up.
cool. I've seen like the menu draft. She
Mhm.
she gave me this little sneak peek. It looks phenomenal. Like, if I still lived in New York, I'd be there. I'd be there. I'd be there. You'd catch me there. It looks super
That's what's
cool.
up.
Um, and so I met her through my friend Ashley Rose Couture. That's the name of her brand. Ashley Rose
Okay.
is the designer, and she was a mutual friend. Amber and I both modeled for her brand, and that was how I met Amber. But we just had this like click,
Yeah, yeah.
just like that, like handshake, like soul to soul, like you're one of my
Yeah, it
people.
was like immediate.
An
I know how that
immediate
is,
like,
yeah.
yeah, I wish she lived closer. She's like one of those people I could feel like would be my absolute best friend if she lived like in a house a couple of houses down the street.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
um but yeah, she's very special. She's incredibly gifted at styling outfits as well. She's on Watching New York, that
Oh,
page
cool.
by Johnny. I hope I'm not butchering his last name. It's like Cirilio, I think. I
Okay,
may,
yeah.
so forgive me if I'm saying that incorrectly, everyone, including Johnny especially. But he posts her outfits a lot, and for good reason. She's truly just like, her mind is like similar to Rachel's, like just like on another level, thinking outside the box, integrating high low,
Yeah,
different
yeah.
different textures, just like a genius.
Because it's interesting, like, with these common threads between people, that as individuals, everybody still chooses to express themselves creatively in a completely different way, a
Yep.
completely different medium. But that same energy is there for each person, and you can
Mm-hmm.
see it, even in just the little like vignettes of their daily lives and stuff. Like, you can see that bleed through completely with each person.
Mm-hmm.
So that part of it's really cool too.
Yeah. Yes.
It's authentic,
It
it's like
is.
authentic, like real creativity. Like,
Truly. And I think I'm really lucky that people are like letting me into their like sort of little personal bubbles, because I think that aspect is really, I think it's part of what's making the series really special, is
mhm.
it's showing the humanity and the human being like that's underneath the performance and the persona.
Yeah,
And I think that if someone's willing, you know, and open enough to let me showcase that, I think it goes a long way and really resonates with people, and it's really special. So
Yeah, for sure.
dude, are you serious? Okay, you're gonna hear my cat meow, and I forgot to put her away, and she loves the spotlight, so she's definitely gonna make herself known. So
Well, we might have to do a special Artidex entry
for
for the
Halo.
cats. Yeah, for both of them
I
together.
love that. Yeah, she would love that for sure. Okay, number 3.
Yeah, number 3.
All right, entry number 3. I'm gonna be impressed if I don't like cry. I'm definitely gonna try not to. Entry number 3 is Mira Mariah, who is one of my best friends in the world. She's most popularly known for being a tattoo artist, but
Yeah,
again,
well, who famously did the Ariana Grande.
Moonhand.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's done many tattoos on
Yeah.
Ariana, and is probably most like well known for that aspect of her art. But she again is super multifaceted, multi-talented, and a multimedia artist. She works with sculpture. She's an illustrator. She's a painter. She's a mom, which is an art in and of itself, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's probably most recognizable publicly for her tattooing and who she's tattooed. But even her art even extends into like clothing. She'll make like t-shirts. She'll do scarves. She'll do stickers, keychain. Like she again is a world builder.
Yeah.
So it's like this Girl New York is the name of her brand, and Girl New York is like almost this like personification of an entity of like the quintessential cool girl in New York.
Okay. Yeah.
At least I don't know if I've ever like specifically talked to her about it directly, but in conversations with her about the art, that's the impression that I got.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's cool. I feel like, out of everybody that you've covered so far, she is the person who I feel like I've heard the most about, in knowing you for as many years as I've known you. You know, I've heard you speak very highly of her, and like praise her and like sing her name from the rooftops like constantly, which is really cool to like have a best friend who, who is that like excited about the things that you do and like wants other people to know how awesome you are. Because I feel like even just through conversations with you, like I can tell she's an awesome person, and I don't even, you know what I mean? I don't know her. I never
That's
met her.
That's her right there in the picture with me on my desk.
Yeah.
So the way I met Mariah is like one of the craziest stories. I was with my friend Joe Wood. Shout out Joe Wood. I miss you, buddy. And I think we were in like some type of bodega. We were like sitting at a table.
Well, let's set the scene. Like what year is this?
Oh God.
Like, yeah.
I don't know. Probably like 10 years ago, something like that. I feel like everything's 10 years ago.
Yeah, at this point.
At this point, it feels all 10 years
Once
ago.
you get to our age, it's like...
No, it's like my early 20s. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he was like sitting there, and he had just gotten a new tattoo, and it was on his arm. And I was like, dude, nice tattoo. It looks really sick. Did you just get that? Like, tell me about it. And he's like, oh yeah, my friend Mariah did this. She actually knows who you are. And I was like, what? Like, really? Like, just like, who says that? Like, what in what context? And he's like, yeah, she like followed you on like Lookbook. Like, she know. And guys, when I tell you, multiple people have told me that they know me from Lookbook, and
which is a crazy poll. Most like anybody who's younger that is like listening to this, they probably have no idea what Lookbook is, but it had a moment.
What's crazy is I think I posted like 2 outfits on there.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It wasn't a thing that I did regularly enough for it to be like a point of reference. So that was just like crazy to me.
Yeah. I had a few Lookbook outfits too. That's
hell yeah, man. I only posted 2. So the fact that people are like, oh yeah, I know you from Lookbook.
Yeah.
Is like so abstract.
Yeah, it's
I was
wild.
like, I didn't do it that much, but okay, super cool. And then I don't know if I think she just told me, but she was like, she basically told me a lot of my art is actually, I use you as a reference.
Oh wow.
Which was like insane. Like,
yeah, that's
because
be told that is like,
I loved her art so much, and I thought like all the people she drew were so cool looking, And
And meanwhile, you're like, well, actually, it was just you the whole time.
No. She draws other people too, other really cool people too. She draws like her other friend Bobby and her other friend Camilla, and they're all super cool and beautiful, beautiful women. But yeah, I think she just might have just flat out told me at some point. She's like, yeah, like a lot of these are of you, G. And I was like, what? And then like afterwards, I could see it.
Yeah.
And it's it like became obvious, but yeah, I think, just talking about going back to how I felt misunderstood a lot growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Mariah, I feel like, is one of the few people who like saw me for the first time or like met me and just like immediately got me and even understood me maybe before I met her.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was like through some like cosmic understanding that came from like drawing me or something, like some hocus pocus like that.
Yeah.
Some voodoo, but she just like fully understands like my soul and my spirit and where I'm coming from, and that's why like I get emotional, because like sometimes when I'm sad about something, whatever it is, I'll be like, well, Mariah understands me and thinks I'm cool, so life can't be too bad.
Yeah, exactly.
she's like my like happy place, like when I think about her.
Yeah, for sure.
And she's just so talented and so strong, and I don't know if a lot of people know this about her, but she lives with a disability, or differently abled, and has one leg. And I think a lot of people don't know that about her. And it's on her page, and she's like spoken about it sometimes, but she just functions at such like a high level that I think it's often missed, and people don't know that she struggles with that. And she's so graceful. It's like impressive. It's just incredible how she like handles difficult things really beautifully. And she's so wise, like talking about somebody who just drops bars.
Yeah, she's that person.
She's so insightful.
We'll have to get her on a pod.
I would. She'll come. She'll do one, and it will be a really good one, because she's just like, I'll come to her with a problem, and she's like Zach, who is number 8, who we'll get to in another podcast, but we'll just say something that like makes me look at the situation in a completely different way.
Don't you love that when like people can just?
It's amazing.
They can like shift your whole like perspective just with like one like fire line.
Yeah. And she does that for me. It's like grandmother Willow energy.
Yeah.
Like she'll just like drop a bar, and I'll be like, wow, I never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
Thank you. So she's just the best. But yeah, anytime I'm sad, I'm like, I just think of her and our friendship, and I can like smile, and that's why she means a lot to me.
Yeah. And how many tattoos do you have that she did?
Oh, probably like 7.
Yeah.
I think I have Miss Honey written on my foot from Matilda. She did the Pure Imagination one, which I don't think she even likes writing words, to be honest.
That's
but
funny.
Like she does it for me because we're besties, and she's super nice. She did the first tattoo she did on me was the World Tarot card on the back of my back of my right arm. And then she did the leaves around my boob on my left side that like comes up on my sternum like a vine. The vines are like her classic, one of her signature things. So that was really cool. I think that was like when I graduated med school, we did that.
Oh, cool. So she's got the most Gina real estate right now.
Yeah, she did Aphex Twin.
Tattoo artist.
Yeah, she did Aphex Twin on my left arm. So yeah, she's got and Trinity from the Matrix on my thigh.
That's right.
That was cool. She did that in my living room.
Oh yeah.
While we had the Matrix on in the background.
That's sick.
With her portable machine.
Yeah, that's really sick.
Because she had never seen it before, and I was like, well,
what?
Yeah. I was like,
what an experience.
Well, we're putting it on right now. It was really funny too, because she was like, it's like I have the tattoo of Trinity where it's like she's saving Neo on that rooftop when he does the first like slow-mo back bend,
the dodge this,
and
that,
and that's like the scene I have where she does the dodge this, and then Mariah's like, are you sure you want a gun tattooed on you? And I was like, yeah, I really do.
Yeah.
She's like, energetically though, and I'm like, no, absolutely, it has to be exactly that.
Yeah.
So she broke another tattoo rule for me, so I'm very grateful. But
that's cool.
But yeah, she's just the best, and just like a force to reckon with, a creative genius. And I'm so grateful for her friendship. Truly,
Yeah.
like, keeps me going for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we both highly recommend that all of the names that we're mentioning, that you go check these people
Oh
out,
yeah,
see what they do, check out their pages. They just, all of their work is incredible.
it would be a
Gina would not be
loss.
featuring any of these people if they
Yes.
weren't incredible, incredible artists and incredible people. So
Yeah.
absolutely, get out there and go check out their stuff.
Which brings me to the next one.
Yeah. Number 4.
Number 4,
Yep.
you.
Yeah.
So lucky to have you, my dude.
No, thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be a part of it. And, I feel like and we talked about this a little bit in the first podcast, but I feel like our friendship and our connection is pretty interesting because, at this point we've known each other for like close to 10 years.
We're going to just say 10 years.
Yeah, we just
10
say
years
10 years.
for everything. 10 years.
And I think the majority of that was spent just sort of like admiring and appreciating one another from afar, and just like
internet homies.
Yeah, and just like short internet conversations here and there, and just like talking about things, or me sending you like music I was working on and stuff, which evolved over time. I think you maybe came to like 1 or 2 shows that I did in the city, and then you were up in Beacon for that. It was for a wedding.
I think it was
or something.
A wedding. Yeah.
And we hung out that one time at my apartment, and that was I think the first time you met Kate.
Yep.
And now living in the same area, and like being able to hang out all the time, it's really interesting. How the universe kind of like lined things up for us.
Did we mention that?
No, not at all.
We didn't talk about that the last podcast?
So we can briefly touch on that we kind of both ended up moving
at the same time to the same place.
At the same time to the same place, with no knowledge that the other one was moving there. Yeah, it's
and it's not like it's like Austin, Texas. Like,
it's not a big city. Yeah,
like people don't know where Greenville, South Carolina is.
Yeah,
like it's very. I mean, it's on the map, but it's kind of off the map.
Yeah, and I mean it's interesting too because we moved to this area for completely different reasons, and based on like completely different premises. And now that we're here, we're kind of both like exploring it and like meeting each other on this interesting level where it's like, well, now we're both the New Yorkers in the South, and I ended up here just through needing a change. It's really not any sort of crazy profound story or anything like that. It was just kind of me and Kate saying, where do we want to go next? And we started Googling low cost of living upcoming cities for young people to live in, and just stuff like that. And on a bunch of lists and like the best places to live right now, we kept seeing Greenville, South Carolina. And of course, you see the photos of the waterfall downtown.
Gorgeous.
And as we looked more into it, we started seeing there's like mountains around and things like that, and these waterfalls, and it's just really cool vibe. And I think we just kind of gravitated towards that. Something about it felt different than the other cities that we had looked at. And we came to visit a couple times, and each time we came to visit, it was we stayed for longer, and we fell in love with it. And I think there's so much about Greenville that feels like home, that feels like back where I grew up in upstate New York.
Yeah, it does.
But with much better weather and much better cost of living. So
and nicer people. Although the people in Beacon are pretty nice.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of cool people there.
But there's nothing like Southern hospitality level. The South is a special place.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been pretty wild.
Yeah, I just remember like being in my car, and I think I had like accepted the job down here, and I was texting you, and I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm actually moving to South Carolina," and you were like, all caps, like, "Wait, bro, where?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Greenville," and you were like, "Me too." Yes. And I was like, "Get out!" Like that's insane.
Yeah, it's one of those things like you can't make that.
Can't make it up. I was blown away. That happened with my best friend from med school, John. We like saw each other at a wedding, and I was like, "Hey, bro, what's up? I'm moving to South Carolina," and he's like, "Dude, I want to move to South Carolina," and I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
because it's just not. It's not really it's I think it's getting more popular, but at the time
Yeah.
it was very like we're still flying under the radar a little bit. People will figure it out eventually, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. They'll figure it out.
But that was insane.
Yeah.
But getting back to your art
Yeah, of
and your
course.
music.
Yeah. You know, of course we have time. So like where do you want me to start? You
Oh
know, it's
man, damn. Okay, so again, when I like end up interviewing people,
yeah.
which we're gonna low key sort of do a mini right now for you because you're here and I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah, of
I know
course.
certain things, but I'm gonna ask them as if I don't know them because I want you to talk about them for other
Yeah,
people
yeah.
to learn them. So talk to people about how you like first got into music.
Yeah. So I think everything okay, so the interesting thing is a lot of people don't know that I'm adopted, and I have white parents. And growing up with white parents in a what I would consider to be like a predominantly white suburban, you know, middle class area of upstate New York, um, my exposure to black culture and to black people was, and this is no fault of my parents because I know they're going to be listening to this. You know, they did everything they
Your
could
parents are
to
awesome.
make sure that you know, the people that I was around were as diverse as possible, that I had as many experiences as possible growing up. You know, with people from all walks of life. But you know, there are things that I was not exposed to, and I think at a young age, trying to, you know, find my identity, like as a black person. A lot of where that came from was the way that I interacted and interfaced with music. You know, so I can remember as early as like 7 or 8 years old, I was like watching, you know, videos on MTV and like seeing rappers and stuff like that, and that was like you know, I started developing this like, I guess like parasocial kind of connection with like rappers and rap culture,
Mm-hmm.
and thinking like, oh, okay, well, like as a black person, like this is a part of my culture and who I am. So like I looked to, you know, rappers for how to dress and
Mm-hmm.
how to talk, and you know, ultimately this led to me being obsessed with rap, and you know, maybe around the time I was like 13 or 14, I started writing. And I think that that went on for a while. And then maybe when I was like 16 or 17 is where like I started recording. And I was like uploading music to MySpace, you know, solo and as part of a group. And that became my identity. People knew me for my rapping. I
Mm-hmm.
think locally I had, you know, a modest following or something like that. But I felt like people knew me. I felt
Yeah,
like people
right.
were like putting me on a pedestal as a rapper.
Because you're very good. I will say.
And you know, that was truly what I wanted to do. And you know, graduated high school, you know, went to college in New York City. You know, being 18 and going to school in the city, I think it affects different people differently. For me, I don't think I was ready at the time to be in New York City and like try and go through school. There was still
Mm.
just so much that I was figuring out about myself. You know, I had a girlfriend at the time who was still living in upstate New York, and I was going back and forth, and it was this whole thing.
Yeah.
But I think during that time, I really like locked in and knew that music was what I wanted to pursue. So I ended up dropping out, and I was like going to community college back home. I was still rapping. I was putting out projects. I was gaining, you know, more of a following. I did some like decently high profile shows, like opening up for like Wu Tang and like other artists.
Dude, you opened
Yeah,
for Wu Tang?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Dude,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
That's insane,
Um,
bro. I mean, I'm not. I'm like, I'm happy for. I'm not surprised.
yeah.
I'm not
So
surprised, but like,
and you
that's
know,
so. I didn't know that. I love learning new nuggets of truth about my close friends.
yeah,
It's so fun.
and I think, you know, like anything else, like as I started to get older, um, I think there was a lot of like interesting things that I had to come to terms with about who I was as an artist and as a rapper. And maybe there was part of me that started to realize that, you know, the person who I had become as a rapper was not truly who I was on the inside. You know, there was a lot of things I talked about in my music and the way that I carried myself and talked, and all these things where I feel like people had this impression of me that I was one person, um, and maybe that wasn't really true to who I actually was.
Right.
And I think that sort of led to me wanting to make my music, feel more true to me. And with that, I started learning how to produce because I thought, okay, well, if at least if I start making my own beats, then I feel like uh, maybe as a side effect of that, my music will feel more personal or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, right?
Sure.
And very quickly, as I got into learning how to produce, and shout out to my buddy Adam, he was the one who showed me Ableton, and something just like clicked with me when he showed me this program where I was like, this is it, like I get it. And I started making music, and I was uploading stuff to SoundCloud, and this is around like 2011, 2012.
Golden
um,
era, man. Good time.
and I was uploading instrumentals, and people really enjoyed them a lot. And I was getting a lot of traction on the instrumentals I was uploading. I was doing a lot of stuff with like sampling and like video game sound effects and stuff like that,
The
which at the
Mario
time was,
Ghost,
yeah, which
my
at the
favorite.
time was like kind of, it was kind of new at the time, whereas like, a lot of like producers and the whole like lo-fi movement and stuff. There's a lot of that stuff now, but at the time it was somewhat new. And so, I started gaining a following very quickly. And I think, one thing led to another, and people started DMing me saying like, hey, we do parties in Brooklyn. Do you want to come play your music? And of course I'm like super hyped about this. I'm like, I didn't even know that people played instrumental music live or anything like that, or like did shows where they could just like play beats.
Right.
And I've always been somebody who is open to opportunities. I take the opportunities that come my way, and wherever that leads me is kind of where I end up. So, one thing leads to another. I'm playing shows in Brooklyn, and that kind of just snowballed into playing more shows, meeting more people, making more instrumental music. And around 2014 is where I really started to land on that kind of sound that people know me for. Um,
Is that when you did 2808?
yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
that
think
was
because that sounds like the right year that
yeah.
I
So
found you.
the project I did 2808, that was in, I think I want to say it was in 2014, and that was kind of the project that I guess sort of like put me on the map in terms of like SoundCloud
Put you on my map,
notoriety.
dude.
And like,
I played that
that was
constantly.
when my plays started shooting up, and I'm getting like 50, 60, 100,000 plays on stuff on SoundCloud.
Hell
And
yeah.
thousands and thousands of followers, and playing more shows. And from there it kind of just became this journey of making this music and taking opportunities, and traveling all over, and just going from there. And that's kind of like what led me to the last like 10, 15 years of my life being dedicated to just making this music and seeing where it takes me.
Hell yeah. And I played that project, the 2808, like on repeat for a very, very long time. And Heavy Armor too, absolutely. Like that follow-up was incredible. I like everything you make though, honestly. I feel like because everything again has that like thread of you in it,
Yeah.
there's something very similar like in everything you do. Like weirdly even in like the clothes that you choose, like I can kind of see that there's something harmonious about like all the ways in which you express yourself, and therefore I generally like all of it because we have really similar taste.
No, we
Honestly,
absolutely do.
we have
Yeah.
like a slight sidekick. Like I was even when we were talking about how we met, I had like gone back on Facebook to like scroll all the way back in time to like when I first DM'd you because I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like,
Of course.
how did we become
Yeah.
friends? And and like I looked at like our first messages, and then like as I'm scrolling back, I'm noticing there are so many times where we would like be like, dude, I can't believe you just said that because blah 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 blah, or like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like we
for
were like
sure.
doing the same things at the same time, or like somehow on the same wavelength at different points in time throughout our lives, which was like super interesting and super cool. And I think that just like speaks to like why we're such natural friends. Um, but anyway, these are all of the reasons that you're in the Artidex. I mean, like you are the quintessence of a multifaceted
No,
artist
thank
with
you.
like a ton of depth. tons of talent, a really profound and beautiful life story, and just like super kind and cool. So like you check every box. Like you are like one of the first people I thought of when I thought of like who should I highlight? It's like, well, Noah, obviously. Like it's like the most like
No, thank you, Gina.
intuitive,
Yeah.
quick, like that's 100% like a great prototype of like an example of someone who needs to be one of the first people
Yeah.
to go in there.
Well,
So
I just feel like, naturally, um, again, going back to the world building thing, I have such a clear vision for everything that
you
I
do.
do. It's everything I do is incredibly intentional, like to a fault. Where it's like it's so curated and so thought about and agonized over.
Hmm.
How I present things, and the visuals that go with my music, and what kind of world I want to build. What do I want to bring people into? And I think that's why like a lot of the music that I made has transcended like genres or scenes that I was
For
a
sure.
part of. And I never really felt quite at home in any one particular scene. Because what I'm doing just kind of like transcends all of that.
Hmm.
And now like with pivoting into clothes, it's been interesting too, that I do feel like that same approach is still there,
Yeah.
in like how I photograph things and the types of things I'm starting to curate and all of that. And it's been an interesting, it's been an interesting change there. And I think, and I still make music. Um, that's something that's never going to go away. The Noah B project is not like defunct or anything like that for people out there
You're
who are like, why haven't you put out music
you're allowed
or
to
anything?
take a
It's
break, my dude. You're allowed
well,
to do whatever you
yeah, I mean,
want.
I think too, it's just social media. It's soul sucking
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah. For
It's like,
sure.
and after doing that for like 10 plus years, it's, the burnout is just absolutely unreal. And like every post I make is just like, it's super difficult for me because I'm like, I feel this immense pressure,
Yeah.
that, no one else but myself is placing on me, but
Right.
it's still there regardless.
Yeah.
And the pressure just builds up, and feeling like you need to keep up with what other people are doing. It gets to a point where I just needed to kind of step away from everything and like get to that point again where music is just like fun. And I think
Yes.
I've reached that again, where now like the music that I'm making in general is just like I'm having fun with it, and I'm not like concerned with like when I'm going to put it out
Mm-hmm.
or who's going to hear it or
Yeah.
anything. It's just like the joy of like just creating things
Yes.
is has returned. So
And I feel like although I am an artist myself, I feel like my life's mission and one of my life's purposes is to support other artists and to be add fuel to the fire. And like I
yeah,
feel like I'm trying to, because we've been like dabbling in music and I know nothing about music or
yeah,
producing. And so like my lens at which like I'm approaching like everything we're doing is very new and like a baby doing something for the first time.
yeah, yeah.
And so it probably I'm hoping that like that freshness and like lack of familiarity almost is like a callback to like the when you first started making music and like viewing it through a lens of just like purely for fun,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
just like the
absolutely.
joy of it. So um I'm hoping that like all the stuff that we do together too is like helping to stimulate that original joy that
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. And I think too, just to touch on like the clothing thing a little bit more, because I'm sure a lot of people who do know me would be curious as like why or how I
yeah.
pivoted
Oh
to
yeah.
selling clothes. But I've always collected clothes. I've always been like really, really into clothes. From a young age, like I was into sneakers. I was just everything. And I think you know that a year ago I had this accident, which I never really talked about on social media or like you know uh,
Let it rip, let them hear it.
explained to anybody. But for those who don't know, a year ago I had an accident where I fell, in the middle of the night. I don't remember falling. For a long time we thought that I had maybe like fallen out of bed or something like that. I've had like strange flashbacks where I feel like maybe like I tripped, or something like that.
Not
But
sure how it happened exactly.
whatever it was, my mind like completely blocked it out, and the only thing I remember is like waking up on the floor in like the pitch black and like intense pain, and like then like feeling that like I had teeth missing, and it
Oh
was
my
just like
God.
whole like crazy
It's
experience
a nightmare,
that
dude.
ended up changing the trajectory of like my entire life ultimately, and in like the most beautiful way possible. Because through this accident, as you know, like I really like damaged my teeth and my
Yeah,
face
man.
like badly. You know what
That
I
was
mean? I
crazy.
fractured my orbital, and like my upper like sinus area, and
Hmm.
like knocked out like a couple of my teeth. And I think during the time I was recovering, um, I felt a lot of like anxiety, and I felt very self-conscious about like going out into the world, because I've always been somebody who's like very confident in like the way that I look, and like the way that I dress, and things like that. And people always told me like growing up that, I have a great smile and stuff like that. So I think, looking in the mirror like every morning
Yeah.
and like seeing my fucked up face,
Yeah, it's
it
hard.
like weighs on you, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I think through that, the interesting thing is, I kept thinking to myself, well, I can't control like how my face looks, but like I can control what I wear. So like,
Right.
let me go get new clothes and like just start
Wow.
really putting that shit on.
That's so
And then
interesting.
maybe that will like, like, I don't know if I thought that it would like make other people focus more on my clothes, or if it was more so that it would just make me feel better about going out because I knew I had that shit on. So in that, I got more into like vintage clothes, and started buying things. And then, like anything else, there's things that we have that we want to get rid of, so I started selling things here and there,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw them move really quickly. And that kind of led to me
Planted a seed.
starting to like source clothes and sell them. And the next thing you know, that was my full-time job, which is
Insane. So
yeah. So
so crazy. I didn't know that it was like connected to your accident, but like the
yeah.
timeline makes perfect sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
and also I was like going through this transition where I was like leaving my old job as a paralegal, and
Hmm.
like thinking about starting a career in tech. And I had this period where like there was 3 or 4 months where I had no job and I wasn't doing
Yeah.
anything. So I think I was selling clothes to like supplement income
Yeah, of course.
in between. And but like I said, very quickly it just snowballed into something where I realized I was like, maybe I don't need to take another job or something like
Because
that.
your
And
taste is immaculate.
no, thank
That's
you.
that's really what you're selling, dude. It's not even like the clothes themselves. It's the curation
Yeah,
and like
yeah, of
your
course.
eye. Your
Yeah,
eye is like pretty insane.
yeah, for sure.
I'll like hold up a dumb shirt in like a Goodwill, and I'll be like, Noah, is this cool? And he's like, No, Gina, that was from like last year. It's not actually vintage. I'm like, oh, and I just like quietly put it back.
Yeah,
But like you've got such an eye for. I'm learning more from you, but like you've got such a tremendous eye for it, which is really really cool.
yeah, for sure. And I think, the direction that I'm going in with things, and a lot of it is just trying to highlight more, and like how can I build more of a world like
Hmm.
through the clothes, right? So a lot of like what I'm interested in clothing wise is definitely like late 90s, kind of early 2000s stuff. But mostly is based on like these subcultures and like things that I was interested in growing up, whether it was music, video games, skateboarding, like all that kind of stuff. Plays a huge part in the type of stuff that I gravitate towards, and like what I'm curating right now. So I think going forward, I'm just gonna find more ways to incorporate all of the aspects of those
Hmm.
things, and not just clothing,
Right.
but all the parts of it, and all the things that inspire me
Under
from.
an umbrella in a
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
No, that's super cool. Um, but yeah, man, your Artidex was super fun.
Yeah,
And
it was fun.
and like you said, like you had mentioned a lot of people hadn't really seen you sort of like in that context, like A, in your element, but B, it's a vulnerable thing. Like it's not lost on me that people are like letting me into their homes or their like bedrooms or their studios or like wherever their setup is, and like letting me film in there, which is just like it's like I said, it's a privilege, and it's not lost on me that it's kind of like an intimate thing. So but I know yours was received super well, and people really enjoyed like seeing just like how your setup looks and like the kind of environment that you create in, and
Yeah, I got a lot of cool messages from people who were
yeah,
like, who were excited about things like that. And
yeah,
we touched on this briefly in the last pod, but I've been like notoriously,
secretive,
yeah, kind of
yeah.
like secretive. With things, which is again just about like the world building and like the curation
Hmm.
and all that. But I think it's cool to like let people in once in a while.
Yeah.
And I saw that when I went through a period like of maybe like 2 years where I was like streaming very regularly on Twitch. I was like doing a lot of like reviewing of music.
Hmm.
So I don't know if you ever caught any of them, but
I
essentially, like
did. I wish I did.
I was having people submit music, like various artists and DJs and things like that, and I would like listen to it and give live feedback on stream. And I would do this like a couple times a week,
That's
and
sick.
get like tons of submissions. We'd be going through like 50, 60 submissions every
Dude,
time.
that's so cool.
Yeah, and it was
Can
a
you
lot
send
of
that to
fun.
me? That's
No,
oh,
yeah, I don't know
okay.
if there's any.
Are they around?
I don't know if there's any clips out there or anything like that,
Huh.
or if I saved any of them. But it was really cool, and it was a cool way to like give back and to like
Yeah.
highlight other artists because
Hmm.
it was more about the other artists than it wasn't about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just about like listening to people's music and like hyping them up.
Yeah. As you know, I
But
love to hype people up. I agree.
I think through that, I understood the power of like relatability and the power of like being able to meet people like on their level and like just have conversations with people. And like, not everything necessarily needs to be like super hyper curated. And like,
Sure.
yeah, I can do that. But also at the same time, it's fun to just like goof around on stream and like
Yeah.
talk shit with people and just
Yeah.
and feel more like connected to people. And I think part of it too with me, being that my artist name is Noah B, which is my
Actual
real
name.
name. There's always been this sort of well, I think a lot of people who work under an alias have the benefit of being able to kind of like hide behind
Yeah.
something. Whereas me, like I am who I am, and
Yeah.
like I think in turn people maybe feel more connected to me as a person
Sure.
through my art
Yeah.
because just having my artist name be Noah B, it's like they feel like they know me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and in a way they kind of
And in a
do.
way, they do.
Yeah,
It's a
and
part of you.
yeah,
Yeah.
but now I'm trying to give people more opportunities to get to know me
Like this.
as a person. Yeah,
Like this.
yeah,
And you're
exactly.
so so awesome. And thank you also, like, shout out to you, because I wouldn't be sitting here doing this podcast if you didn't push me to do it. And
Of
I knew
course.
you were right, because you're often right, but like it's a lot of work. And having someone push me in the right direction and support me with it definitely made it happen. So
Yeah.
thank you. Thanks for doing the Artidex and supporting my crazy ideas. You're one of the people that, like I said, the binder mostly consists of my friends who support my crazy ideas. That's you.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you.
I'm always down for a good crazy idea, But for what it's worth, the majority of your ideas are really not that crazy. They're ambitious, but I don't think they're crazy.
They're ambitious as
Yeah.
hell.
I just think sometimes you tell me something I'm like I mean, hey, if you want to go for it,
Yeah.
go for it.
Well, I think just like my tendency towards delusion just comes from like the fact that I went from art school to med school successfully and like did it. So now I'm like, well, I could probably do anything now.
Yeah, well, it's like
Which
you did something that's
that's
like
like
incredibly ambitious,
yeah, it's insane. So now it's like, well, proof of concept. When I say I'm gonna do something, spoiler, I do it.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of variables in art that are like outside of my control, whereas like medicine, I could control everything. Like
Yeah,
my
definitely.
my outcomes were equal to my effort. So
Which I think, in a way too, your ambition has rubbed off on me a bit, where I maybe feel like some of the ideas that I've had in the past that were ambitious, that I told myself were too ambitious. Now I kind of feel like, well, Gina would tell me that I can do it. You know what I mean? It's like,
absolutely.
yeah.
Thank you for saying that. I always strive to, like, I want to do that for people.
Yeah.
Because I do believe in you, like 100%.
Yeah, for
and I'm
sure.
glad that like it's both felt and then it like actually echoes through like your life and like your actions. Because I mean, you're super talented. I think you could do whatever you want. So, and I'll be there to stand everything you do. So
For sure. That's awesome, dude. I appreciate it.
hell yeah. All right, last one maybe. We talk about my buddy Will.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about
Will
Will.
Crooks. So number 5 is Will Crooks. Will is one of like the first friends I made in Greenville, actually.
Oh, cool.
He was a friend of a friend of a friend, like multiple. There's like multiple people in Greenville who are like interwoven. Specifically, AJ slash Bernard, who owned the plant store in the West End. It was called Sovereign.
Right. Yeah. Which unfortunately I never got a chance to go to.
It was so
Yeah.
cool. It was so cool. But
Which is actually isn't Sovereign over by where
T Warden.
yes.
T
Yeah,
Warden
yeah, yeah.
is
Where
Sovereign.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Now I understand.
So T Warden took
Shout out
over.
to T Warden.
Shout out to T Warden.
Jeffrey,
Jeff.
one of the coolest people I've met in Greenville, and
Such a cool dude.
and a huge inspiration for my journey with vintage clothes. He's somebody who has like an insane
coolest
eye,
store,
like, absolutely insane eye, and a really awesome store. And
Jeff is sick.
If you're in Greenville, you absolutely have to go there.
Yeah, absolutely. Check out West End T Warden. But yeah, so Bernard owned Sovereign, which was a plant store in the West End, which is now T Warden. And I think Bernard had photos on his Instagram that were taken by Will.
Oh, cool.
And they were beautiful. They were like really gorgeous portraits. Like Will's understanding of light is just, it's next level. And like just the way that he plays with and controls and manipulates light is really just like innovative and unique. And like actually in his Artidex, he was showing me some of the ways in which he actually changes the photograph, changes the lighting in his photographs with like certain props that he has in his house. Like he has this old like the glass that comprises the windows in diners, that's like this thick sort of like, they're like square blocks that are like 10 inches thick.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's almost like wavy. It has this like icy texture.
Yes,
he
absolutely.
has like an old piece of diner glass, like a square cube, like from an old diner. Cool. And he'll shine like a distant spotlight through that cube and project it onto a printout of a photo he took previously.
That's awesome.
So he'll like take a photo, take a portrait, print it out onto paper to give it texture, so that the texture of the paper is already adding a dimension to the photograph.
That's sick.
And then refracts the light through the diner cube onto the photo and then rephotographs the picture again, which is just like the layers of like how many times he'll rephotograph the photo to give it a texture is just like, and it's like kind of analog in a sense. Like he's photographing some and many things digitally, but like the processing, like the post processing he does on his photos is just so handcrafted.
Yeah.
And like,
well, it sounds like there's like many like layers to it as well.
Yeah.
You know,
it looks like you got a buddy that wants to come on your lap.
Yeah,
there.
I know.
Yeah, my cat named Cake is trying to get on Noah's lap in the middle. The last podcast I remembered to put them away. This podcast I did not. So now you're getting podcast cats. But yeah, Will was a friend of Bernard, and so that's how we met. And he actually reached out to me. Will messaged me, and he was like, "Hey, I'd like to take your picture. I'm doing this series that I'm working on." And I, looked at his work, looked at the series he sent me. It was super, super cool. Oh my god,
Cake!
Oh my god, cake just fell. We can cut that out.
Yeah. Cake stood on the Artidex and it just like slid off.
All right. So Will actually messaged me and he was like, "Yeah, I'd like to take your picture for this new series that I'm working on." And I took a look at it, and I really loved all the photos he was taking. So I was like, "Hell yeah, for sure, dude." So we linked up, we shot, we hung out a couple of times, and again, just like instant friends. Super, super cool guy. And it's very rare too to find like a male photographer as like a woman that like doesn't make you feel slightly uncomfortable. Oof, Will is like just like the warmest, goofiest, like chillest guy. Like you feel safe. And like that's pretty difficult to do as like a white straight male photographer.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And he's got it.
Kind of the case.
He almost has. I gave another photographer this compliment recently, and I think it also very much applies to Will. And it's like one of the highest compliments I could award to a male photographer was he has the female gaze. Like when he's shooting a woman, it's not like sexualized, and it's not like grotesque, and it's not like it's truly just like a celebration of beauty. And I think that goes for Joshua too, who I just covered, who does Pigeon Doll. Just
Yeah.
like really the way like he like the lens through which he looks at women is really nice. But Will has that quality to him as well,
That's
which
cool.
I really admire. But yeah, he also the reason that there's a basketball in his Artidex, which people probably don't know, but he like I think he did basketball for a long time. I don't know if he like played professional. I might have just been in college. He was just like
Okay.
I think he
Yeah.
played college
Oh,
basketball,
so he
and
was good.
he was
Yeah.
really
So
good.
he was good.
He was legit. So I was like, take the ball out. I'm like, let's toss it around. and so I was like, he didn't want to throw it at me for that like one shot. I'm like, throw it at the phone.
Yeah.
I'm like, just throw it. Like, it's fine if it hits me. It's fine. He's like, are you sure? And I'm like, he's so nice. I'm like, dude, just throw the ball. So for that shot where he like throws the ball and it like hits the lens for the transition, that was really cool. But again, just like a really multifaceted person. And then like in the middle of his Artidex, he got mail, and it was a giant box. And I was like, dude, what's in the box? And he was like, oh, he's like, I forgot I ordered this. It's like 10 volumes of this rare, expensive, like, is it manga or manga?
Manga. Yeah.
Okay, potato. I didn't want to mess
Yeah.
it up.
You're
He's
good.
like, it's this rare, like all of these volumes of this rare, expensive manga.
Do you know what one it was?
They were red, they were leather, they were bound. I don't know. I'll have to research that for you. As you know, it's something that like it's a world I've been like curious about, but I haven't dove in, and a lot of people have given me recommendations of things they think I would like that I just haven't gotten around to exploring yet. But that was really cool because then like I had like a very quick snippet of him like opening the box, and he looked so happy. He looked like a kid on Christmas.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was cool to like show. You know, I showed like a little bit of his like fridge, which has pictures of him, has pictures with his dad. Him opening this like mail he got in the middle, his like a nod to his like basketball past, and then like how he makes photos. So again, just like a super like beautiful, multi-talented, multifaceted person. And I really love how his came out really good, I think.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was definitely awesome.
Yeah. So, but yeah, those are the first 5. I mean, oh, one other thing I should plug about Will, because I feel like artists don't plug themselves, honestly.
No, we don't.
Unless you're prompted to or given like a specific setting. But like, I mean, he's just like incredible. He's like shot like Gavin Newsom for the cover of like a major magazine. He's done stuff for the Times, Billboard. Like, he's not just he's not just like your friendly neighborhood photographer. Even though he gives your friendly neighborhood photographer, he's like in major publications and gets like paid to try. I think he just like went to Japan to do like a whole series for some specific publication that I don't remember exactly, and I'm probably not even allowed to say anyway. So, but yeah, he's just a super impressive, down to earth guy. And of course, and I've joked about this, but like during his session, I'm still just getting used to this new camera. The Polaroid i2 that I have is like a relatively recent camera that they released, and it's this hybrid between analog and digital.
Yeah.
So it has manual features on it. And different like settings. So you can do auto, but you also can do like an aperture priority mode. There's like a self timer mode. There's a dual exposure mode. And I was still learning the camera, and I hadn't realized, but like it was accidentally like on the dual exposure mode. So like the shutter, I thought like kept getting stuck in the middle of a shoot. And I was like, dude, I don't know what's happening. Yeah. Like I'm pressing the button and it's just like sticking for some reason. And it's like so embarrassing because it's like I'm trying to take a photograph of a photographer and like my camera's not working. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. But he was like super sweet about it. And he like helped me figure out my own camera so that I could take his picture properly. He's like, oh, you're just on like a double exposure mode. And I was like, oh, of course. That was simply what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that existed on that camera.
You had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah, I had no idea that was a thing on the camera. Afterwards, I obviously learned my lesson and read the manual, but you know, at that time it was just like super uncanny to like be messing up the taking of the photo of the photographer.
Yeah.
Like it's like having to sing in front of a singer and your voice cracks.
True.
It's just like the worst. So I was like, oh no. But he was super just like sweet and helpful, and his came out pretty good in the end. You know, it looks pretty cool, so I'm happy with it.
Yeah, no, I think it looks super cool. Yeah, I'd love to meet him sometime as well.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. But yeah, I mean, I just went to LA over the weekend. That was pretty crazy. I got 3 done in a row.
Yeah, which is wild. I know leading up to the LA trip, you had a lot of mixed feelings about going out there.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. Well, just because, like I said, it's so hard to know what people's lives are really going to look like around that time. Like you can set a plan and be like, hey, do you want to hang out on XYZ date? And people will say yes, and they'll mean it, and then like something comes up,
Yeah.
and that's just like how life goes, especially as an adult.
Yeah, of course.
It's just such a mixed bag, and that's like to be expected and totally okay. But it's just like when you're spending $4,000 or whatever it is for like a flight,
Yeah.
a hotel, multiple dinners and Ubers, totally fine. But like you do want some level of commitment.
Yeah, of
where
course.
if like I'm going out there, I want to at least get one. So I just was like really hoping they would pan out, and they did. I got 3, so that was awesome, and I was super grateful about that. And I think they came out amazing.
I'm
I was
excited.
really, really,
Yeah.
really happy with them. And the one that's coming out next, which will probably be out by the time that we air this,
Yeah.
it'll be out. So it's Hannah Beth.
Okay.
Yep. And I'm gonna
The legend.
Yeah, the legend, the icon.
Absolute icon.
Yeah, she was just like super incredible, and I actually wanted to show you really quick. So in her apartment, which we'll talk about this more when I just cover 1 through 10, but
Yeah.
her apartment is basically a museum from 2005.
Okay.
And there's like a million just like plushies. Like she loves a plushie toy. Yeah, like a Labubu. She's got like 10,000 Labubus of all different colors, shapes, and sizes. And she was always known like for doing like these bag charms and also phone charms.
Okay.
So I brought that's what's in this weird bag over here.
Sick.
I just like didn't know what else to put it in to hide it from you so that you wouldn't see what it is.
I'm not gonna lie, I literally just thought that was a
You thought it was trash?
yeah, I thought it was a bag of trash.
It's actually a bag full of plushies that Hannah Beth gave me.
Oh, let's go.
So I'm gonna like give you
if
like
anybody
a reveal.
knows me, they know that I mess with the plushies. That's
100%. So she was so cool because she had them on her phone. I was like, damn, man, you're making me want to do that. She's like, oh, I'll do it for you. And I was like, what? And she's like, oh, yeah, I have a ton. Let me just get you some. Like, what's your favorite color? Which, nicest thing in the world.
Oh, sick, yeah.
But I'm just going to, like, show you some of these guys. Look at this guy.
I love it.
Look at him. Or her. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But Lila toys, I don't really know a lot about these. I'm not like in the game.
I don't know. Yeah.
I'm not in the field.
I'm not like super in the game. Like I'm in the Pokemon game,
Yeah.
That's kind of like my my reference point.
Sure.
And like I know about a lot of this stuff and I've seen it, but I'm not like deep in it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this type of stuff is really cool.
Yeah, so we got this little dude. I'm just put him right there. I love the little bow tie. Yeah, I told her my favorite colors were like baby blue and black. So she just like did a spin-off.
I did not know those were your favorite colors. Ooh, we got
It's
the black on black. Isn't
that hard?
Yeah, that's pretty fire.
It's fire.
Now the black on black is sick.
Yeah, it's like an all black Labubu.
Yeah.
Which is like kind of goth and metal and like
That's
just
fire.
sick in general.
Yeah.
This is like, I think it's a telephone. I don't know. It says hello on it. So
it definitely is a telephone.
It looks like a little blue plushy telephone.
I like this little charm on it too.
Yeah, you can hang it on a bag.
It's pretty cool.
This is a character from SpongeBob, I believe. I think this is like.
Oh yeah, I cannot. If Kate was here, she would remember what his name is. I can't remember.
I think he's like. I thought he was one of the posse members, like the Meep, Kevin Meep. One of those guys. No?
I feel really, really ashamed that I cannot remember what his name is. But I know that he has some iconic lines.
He's not the Diet Dr. Kelp guy, is he? I don't know.
I don't know. I need to brush up on my SpongeBob. It's probably been too long.
And then this is what she put on my phone. I took it off for work, obviously, because I don't have a separate work phone from my personal phone. But it goes in your phone like this, and this hangs off your whole phone.
This is nuts.
Is that not insane?
Wait, so how does this attach to your phone?
So like you unhook this little tab here from this clasp. Mm-hmm. Insert this tab into your phone case and clip your phone case on, and then it holds it through your phone case.
Oh, that's genius.
Like this little tab comes through the bottom.
Okay.
And that, and she just had like a phone like with all this stuff just hanging off casually, and I
That's
was
funny.
like, that's hard.
Yeah, that's sick actually.
I actually put it on my backpack when I went to work.
I dig that.
Yeah.
I like all the stuff on here.
There's also a clown
stuff.
on it that says "Why so serious," which is fully me coded.
Also, did you intentionally do the 8-ball because of your recent?
No, so the 8-ball came from artist number 11, who I don't think artist number 11 will be out by the time we release this, so I'm not
Okay.
going to say who it is.
Yeah.
But artist number 11 had a bunch of them in their apartment, and I commented on it. I was like, 8-balls are following me around right now.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Do you want this keychain?" And I was like, I do. I
Okay,
do, in fact.
okay.
Yeah. So that was just a coincidence. Okay, and I saved my favorite one for last.
Okay.
Okay, drum
Let's
roll.
go. Ooh.
How freaking adorable is that?
This is cool. This one is really cool.
I don't know why. I just love it so much.
Yeah.
It's just got giant ears.
Yeah, it's super cute.
And just the feet. Look at the little feet.
Oh yeah, the little feet
How
and the little
cute.
hands.
The
Yeah.
tiny hands. I
Yeah.
don't even know what this is called, but I love it. It's great. Its expression is like fully on brand, I would say.
Oh yeah,
Just
absolutely.
just vibing.
Yeah,
absolutely
for sure.
vibing. But yeah, she gave me all of these, and it made my whole week, to be honest. It was pretty cool to meet your hero and then get a bunch of like plushies from them. Was
Yeah, for sure.
quite clutch. But actually, it was really funny. I'll talk about it a little bit more during the 5 through 10, but just briefly, we had met like once before, but Hannah like thought we had like hung out like multiple times.
Really?
It was really funny. She's like, yeah, like we used to go out together, right? And I was like, no, but I was like, we can
That's
do that.
funny. Yeah.
But it was we do have overlapping social circles,
Okay.
like Rachel,
like mutuals and stuff.
Yeah, Rachel, who's number 1, knows her, and then my friend Aileen, who's a makeup artist, also knew her. So we like had some mutual friends and like overlapping circles, but like we had never like hung out before. And it was so funny. She's like, yeah, like we've hung out, and I was like, Hannah, we've never hung out, but we are now, like we can. But that was really, really funny. But we became fast friends too, and like really clicked, which was cool. But I'll talk more about that day and that Artidex at a later time. But hopefully we covered. I think we covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely did.
I hope my phone didn't die.
So I don't know if you mentioned this, but is Artidex is Artidex accepting applications at this time? Like, is this an open thing, or are you kind of just covering the people who you have a personal connection with?
I mean, it's a little bit of both. I definitely like absolutely trust my friend's opinion. Like I've had people who have done the Artidex be like, oh, you know who you should do?
Yeah.
My friend, blah, blah, blah. And then like they're linking me with their friends, and their friends are super cool. And I'm like very excited about it. So like, yes, absolutely.
But maybe sometime down the line, you may open up
that would
sort
be
of way for people to
that would be legit.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to be more legit.
Yeah.
One of the future Artidexes was like, do you have a photo release form? And I was like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, it's just been me and my friends.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I was like, you do make a fair point there. So then I sat with ChatGPT for 6 hours and like made the chillest photo release form I could possibly cook up.
Cool. Yeah.
Where it's like, it's legit, but it's also just like very chill. I even put like a too long didn't read on it.
Okay.
At the bottom, I'm like, if you don't want to read this, it basically just says like all of the art that's in the video is yours, and like the actual content that I filmed is mine.
Yeah,
and that's really it.
That is the interesting part about doing this is as you get further into it, it's becoming more legit. You know what I mean? It's
I know. Yeah. I actually just got the notification that it was like accepted by the state of South Carolina as like the Artidex Foundation is now like a nonprofit.
Oh, for the 501(c)(3) classification or whatever.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Pinky's up 501(c).
501(c). Yeah,
actually,
for all my nonprofit heads out there.
Yeah. So, well, I still got to do all like the IRS bowl. I'm gonna get like an accountant to do that because that'll pull my hair out. But yeah, so that's going to be really cool because that's going to basically be like the mechanism through which I give artists the grants and also accept money from sponsors that the company is like donating money to the grant pool to help artists, and then B, they're also like technically sponsoring the podcast and the videos.
Yeah.
And then C, they can also use it as a tax write-off because it's a nonprofit.
Yeah, of course. No, that's
So,
awesome.
It's like I'm trying to give like the triple appeal here.
Yeah,
like
of
you're
course,
getting
of
some
course.
advertisement, you're helping people, you can write this bull crap off, you
Yeah.
know, it's good. It's good for your taxes,
Yeah.
it's good for your heart, it's good for your soul.
Exactly.
So I mean, you know, hopefully, but yeah, it's nice to see like the first steps coming to fruition. Hello. This is not for you. Or maybe it is. But
She's like, it is now.
Yeah, I guess so. Like, she's part of the pod for sure. I think so. I feel like we covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, I feel like we did. Is there anything else that you need to
No.
you want to dive into real quick, or?
Well, what I guess what I can say is I do have a podcast with Joshua, who I think maybe that podcast will come out right after this podcast.
Yeah.
From Pigeon Doll, because now I'm trying to do podcasts with the artists as well, because that was also a recommendation and a request.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just want to preface this to everyone involved, like even you in the room. Like I've never done this before, and I'm still like learning how to be better. I'm learning how to be a better photographer again. Like I know I went to photo school, but like I'm relearning it. It's like if you don't play piano for 12 years, you're not gonna like be able to throw down a concerto at the drop of a hat. So I'm like reteaching myself photography. I'm learning how to do this podcast stuff I've never done before. So I just appreciate everyone's patience and grace as this hopefully gets better over time.
Yeah, we're learning, and it's good that you're open to suggestions.
Oh,
and,
yeah, for sure. We love suggestions, but hopefully we have a jingle for this one.
Yeah, we should, and a little intro.
A little intro. All right. Well,
we're getting official.
I think this is a good conclusion.
Yeah.
So thank you to everyone who's listening. We really appreciate you joining us and listening to us yap for like an hour straight.
Yeah.
And for your support. And certainly if anyone listening to this is interested in the Artidex, being in the Artidex, donating to the Artidex, being interviewed, just reach out to us at the artidex@gmail.com.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said earlier, please go and check out all of the artists that have been a part of this project so far.
Absolutely.
They're all really, really cool, and they deserve your attention.
And we'll link all their stuff. We'll name drop at the end, like link it in the show description.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll put all their stuff down there.
Yeah, for
all
sure.
Right.
Thanks for rocking with us.
See you next time.